Hi all, welcome to Chess 24/7 and you're encountering another stream for the weekend. And we'll be playing a few games today, probably with a few bots, and we'll see if we can beat a few of them if we can. But before that, let's just warm up with a few puzzles. Yeah. So with that said, let's just dive into it. So we are playing with black pieces here. Yeah. Um. Okay, we're good to go. Yeah. So we're playing with black pieces. There's some pressure on H2. Yeah. However, right now the rook on e2 is defending that. The other idea is that I can play rook f1, king g. My bad. Rook f1, king g1, and then queen h2 check. King f1 is there. Okay, this is interesting. I think this is a daily puzzle, so this should be simple enough. I hope I don't fall for this. I mean, I don't make a mistake in this daily puzzle because that will be embarrassing. Um, yeah, rook f1, king g2, queen h2, check, and then king f1, and then queen h1, king comes to f2. Um, okay, f2. Hmm. The other thing is I can just, I mean, I have to make some, I have to make some moves which put my opponent in check because my rook is in hanging otherwise. So bishop h2 does not work. So yeah, let's start with rook f1. Yeah, and now, hmm. Now queen h2 is met with king f1. Then queen h1 is met with king f2. Okay, so the other option is queen g4 check, king f1, queen g4, king f1, queen f3 check. If he goes for rook f2, um, I can go to h1, but then he can just escape via e2. So yeah, queen h2 looks very interesting, but I don't see after king f1 how do I go about the puzzle. Queen f1, king f2, maybe this bishop check, but then knight c5 is always an idea there. Um, rook f2, rook f2, rook f2, queen h2 check, and then king f1 is also there, right? Um, let's go for queen h2. So if we start on a very bad note, the first puzzle of the stream, and we're not able to solve it. So what is it? Um, yeah, okay, and then what? What is it? At what? Oh, I did not see that there was some tension between the two queens. Anyhow, let's move on to our next puzzle. Otherwise, I would have thought on a different line altogether. So yeah, what about rook g3 here? Rook g3 should do the trick, right? Yeah, and then I mean I can come to g1, but then rook knight h3 is always there. But then queen h3, rook h3 takes takes. Let's see. King g1, knight h3, queen h3, rook h3, and then rook g4, and then I have an extra piece, right? Yeah, so that should do the trick. And if I capture on g4, check. Wait, what? Why doesn't this work? Is it f? No. What's the solution here? But why doesn't? Okay, yeah, I mean maybe I missed something here. But what's the solution? What's the follow-up for black here? I mean, yeah, how can black win this? Okay, yeah, the other rook can join the party. Awesome. I don't want to end like yesterday with the. I mean, I lost a lot of points yesterday. Let's try to solve at least 5 puzzles in a row. Yeah, get to at least 2400, and then we'll see how to go about that. Yeah. In fact, let me change the uh, layout of my OBS. Yeah. Okay. If I play 94, he has always got 94. Queen d2, bishop d2 is there. Yeah. Bishop h6, queen h6. Hmm. The other option is b4, because if a b4, then queen a1 is made. So b4 is definitely an idea, and the moment this knight moves away, I can capture on e4. Also b4, if bishop g7, I have pawn c3 attacking the queen, and then I can just capture the bishop, right? So yeah, b4 should be the move here. And now I can just exchange. And I'll be up a piece. Yeah, awesome. So that's the first puzzle of the stream which we were able to solve successfully. Let's move on to our next puzzle. So there's a lot going on in this position. There's some pressure on g2. There's knight e2 check available. Wait, is there any? Yeah, my internet is fine. So yeah, let's see. Knight e2 check. Oh, knight f3 is also there. Knight f3. In case rook f3, I can capture on f3 because the pawn is pinned, right? And then I'm threatening rook queen g2 there. So knight f3 check. The king can go to h1, by the way, and then maybe I can capture on d2. The other idea is to capture on g2, king g2, but then I don't see the follow-up. Let's say if I bring my other rook, yeah, that is interesting, to the g file, but then you can go to h1 from that point, and then knight f3 is also an idea here. Point being that there are no checks available. Okay, after knight f3, he has got queen b2 there, but it will still be late because I can just move my knight, and that will be a discovered check by my queen on. In fact, I have this battery going on there. Yeah. So yeah, rook g2 now looks more promising. Rook g2 check. Um, King g2, knight f3. If queen f3, and then I can just go to queen g5, and the queen is lost then. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. Rook g2 is now more promising and looks more attractive in this situation. Um, I mean, knight f3. Yeah, I get knight f3 check. King h1 is there. Or in fact, he can also go to king h2. King f2. My bad. Yeah. And then I can win the bishop, but I'm not sure if it will be worth it. So yeah, rook g2 looks more promising. I think they should do the trick. Let's see if we can, because I can then involve my other rook also into the game, right? So rook f2 rook g2 should be the move here. There's knight f3 there, and now rook g2 or what? But what's the problem with rook g2 right away? I mean, I'm exposing the king, right? Yeah, maybe he can go to h3 now, h1, yeah, and Knight f3 there. But I thought I could still play rook g1, and then knight check. If the rook intervenes, yeah, that should. Right? I mean, I don't know why was this idea rejected by Leeches? Because all the moves are. Oh yeah, he has got queen c3 there. Yeah, I did not see that. Because now everything changes. My king is in check and the queen is active. Awesome. Let's move on to our next puzzle for the stream. Let's see. We're playing with white pieces, and there is definitely some sort of weaknesses around my opponent's king. I think. Mm, so I mean, I can play something like d7. If rook d7, then queen c7, c6 check, pawn c6, and then rook b8 is mate. Yeah. However, after d7 check, you can also go to. Okay, after d7, bishop d7 is also there, which now then ruins the plan of queen c6 because bishop c6 is there. However, after d7, I can go for d7, bishop d7. I can go for rook b7 check. If king b7, I have got, but then this bishop can also intervene. Bishop coming to uh, b6, right? So yeah, I have to be aware of this bishop b6 move, which is not only saving the piece but also defending the king, right? So d7 check is my first move. If let's say bishop c6, bishop d7, sorry, d7 check, bishop d7, um, queen c6, bishop c6, and then rook d8, king d8, and the king can escape, right? But I can be on. What about queen c6 check right away? Pawn c6. Yeah, this is interesting, right? Queen c6 check, pawn c6, and d7 check, and that should be a mate, right? Because if bishop d7, I have rook b8. Yeah, so yeah, queen c6 should be. I mean, it's a more promising way to go about checkmating our opponent's king, right? Let's see if we can. Let me just double check. Queen c6 check. Obviously, he cannot go to b8. Otherwise, queen b7 is just checkmate. Pawn c6. Pawn d7 check. If bishop d7, then rook b8. Yeah. Awesome. Now d7. Yeah, it does not matter how black recaptures because rook b8 is made. Awesome. Let's move on to our next puzzle for the stream. We are playing with white pieces. Okay, so my opponent's king is not looking that good, considering the fact that my rook is cutting him. I mean, he doesn't have this f6 square available for his escape. Also, this bishop is doing a great job. I mean, I can put it on e2 and then this, take care of these light squares around my opponent's king. So my first move is h4 check, which then forces him to go to either h5 or g4. Yeah. So let's see h4, and I think if he goes to h5, I have got bishop e2 check, and that is a mate, right? Because the king really cannot defend that. He has no pawns to put in front. So yeah, h4, king h5 is bad. So king g4 is the move, right? Um, then I have rook g6 check, but the only problem is he can either go to f3 or h3. But if he goes to h3, I have got rook h6 check, and if he comes to g2, that's pure madness because of bishop f1, and that should be Okay, then he can go to king h3. That is possible. It's not that simple. So yeah, h4 check. King comes to g4. If I go for bishop e2 check, further restricting my opponent's king, then he's got bishop king h3, right? And then there is no mate, or is it? Because then I have bishop f1 check as well, but then he can come to h2, right? And then there is no way to checkmate my opponent's king, right? Yeah. So yeah, let's start with h4 because that's the basic idea in this position. Also I have f4 available. F4 is more, I mean, it's better if you think about this. F4 check, and then he has to go to h5, right? Yeah, because if I play h4, I'm giving him away this g4 square. So better is to play f4 check. The king has no square except for h5, right? So this looks great here. And now this should be the move, right? Awesome. Let's move on to our next puzzle. We're playing with white pieces. So there's some pressure. I mean, my opponent's king is exposed, but so is my king. I mean, in fact, black is threatening to checkmate me with queen c2 on the next move. So I have to be aware of that. So I have got queen c7 check. Yeah. Which is, I mean, I guess this is going to be my first move. I'm pretty sure. Without even calculating, I can say that. Yeah. But the problem is queen c7, it does not involve a new piece into the attack. Okay, my queen is there, but I would love to play my rook to f7, but then it's too late because of queen c2 there. Yeah. The other move is queen h8. Now he has got two options. Either he can come to d7 or e7. e7 is not good because of bishop queen f6, and then I can enter the, I mean, I can start attacking my king with my queen, and I can also involve my rook, I believe. But let's say queen h8, king e7, queen f6, and if he goes to d6, then I have got queen coming to e5, queen e5, pawn e5 check. Let's say king captures, and then we capture the rook, and we are better, right? So queen h8 is also interesting. Queen h8, king d7. Then I can bring rook f7 check, and that is way better instead of capturing on f7 with my queen, because I bring a new piece into the attack, right? So queen h8, king d7, rook f7 check, and then the king only has one option, which is king coming to d6, right? And then I can just play something like queen e5, and we discussed that bishop pawn e5 check. Yeah, I mean queen e5, queen e5, pawn e5, and then we win the rook on b2. Because if I play queen f7 check, he's got only one move, that is king d8, right? And then queen f8 is there, in which case he can go for something like c7 maybe, trying to escape even further. But then let's say rook f7 check, king goes to b6, and queen d8 is met with king coming to a6, right? And then the king has escaped. So I'll go for king rook queen h8. I'm betting on that. Is it queen f7? Oh, okay. I can also go for this attack, but yeah, this is better, right? Awesome. I guess we missed something in calculation. Anyhow, I mean, I should have won that one. It was a pretty, I mean, I was attacking, so I should have been able to win that one. Anyhow, let's move on to our next puzzle. We are playing with white pieces. Okay. So there is some back rank issues with my king, but I have some dark square weaknesses around my opponent's king. So bishop g7 check, but then you go to king g8 as well, right? Bishop g7, pawn g7, queen g7, pawn g7, king g7, and then what? I don't have anything. Yeah, okay, I have rook f7, check. King f7, I'm not sure if that would. The other option is, what if I play one of my rooks? Let's say my a rook to c8. Queen c8, rook c8, rook c1, rook c1, rook c1, and then bishop can come back to c1, right? Uh, However, after rook c1, the queen can just go anywhere she wants to, right? Maybe b3 attacking, or b4 attacking b2, and then this rook is protected, right? Hmm. Okay, wait. Bishop f8, rook f8, queen h6. Then rook g8 has to be played. Okay. I can also go to. I think it has to do something with bishop f8, rook f8, and then bringing my rook. Somehow it has to do something with it. It just, I don't know. It looks very intuitive in this position. So let's say rook a comes to c1, queen goes to b4, let's say, keeping an eye on f8 bishop. I exchange rook c8, rook a c8, bishop f8, bishop f, rook f8, or maybe queen f8. Yeah, queen f8 is also possible. Um, hmm. Okay, c1, and queen b4 is there. So maybe rook, bishop f8, rook f8, queen h6, rook g8 has to be played. Rook ac1, queen b3, let's say. Rook c7 is my idea, but it's too slow because I mean, I'm not sure if that's the right way to go about. But then he can also play rook f8, and everything is protected, right? Um, hmm. The other idea would be rook f4 followed by rook h4, but that's too slow. I'm not sure if that would work. Bishop g7, check. King g8 is obviously there. Hmm. Okay, so this could also be an idea. Bishop f8, rook f8, queen h6, rook g8, and then I can play rook f4 with the idea of playing queen h7 check and rook h4. Yeah, that is an idea. Let's see. Rook f8, rook f8, queen h6, rook g8. Yeah, rook f4. And if I, let's say, get another move to make, I will capture on h7, check, king h7, and then rook h4. Yeah, and that is a mate. Yeah. So yeah, that looks interesting. I think that should be the solution. And now queen h6. And now rook f4. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to our next puzzle for the day. Hmm. So my king is in check, but my rook is also under attack, but it's defended right now. Yeah. I mean, I can capture on d4, but then knight e2 is there. Yeah. But then I have got king h2 as well. If you capture on d4, I capture on h3. So that should be an equal trade, right? Hmm. And what about king h2? I'm attacking the bishop. And maybe then I can also attack the rook, right? And this knight is also, I mean, I'm diagonally one square in opposition to the knight, so there is no checks available with this knight. So yeah, king h2 looks real good here. King h2, and if let's say bishop f5, that is not working because of rook f8, and that's mate, right? So yeah, king h2 should make, I mean, it makes sense to me, right? King h2, bishop f8 is also possible, bishop g1 is also possible, but then I just capture back, right? Because the rook is protected. Yeah, let's go for this. Um, okay. But I can capture the knight, but better would be capturing on h3 because this knight is kind of pinned, right? Yeah, you can play c7, but I think capturing on h3 is way better. But then if I capture on h3, that's not good because of knight g5, and that's a fork. So maybe I should just capture, then I can capture this. Yeah, my king is on a dark square, so there's nothing to be afraid of this light square bishop. Awesome. Okay. Hmm. So my, I mean, I'm attacking because my king is relatively safer compared to my opponent's king, and I'm thinking on the lines of knight b5. I mean, I can play knight d5, but then that just uh, discourages my queen to have a look at c7, c6. Yeah. So knight b5 comes with check, right? Let's say uh, rook, or maybe let's just keep the rook on g5. That's aggressive there. Let's say knight b5, and then I've got queen c6 check. Yeah, and then he has got only one option, which is to play king b8. Hmm. Unfortunately, I can't play queen c7 checkmate because of the bishop of the knight on b5. Yeah, so knight b5 check, knight b5 is the best move because knight b5, if rook b5, queen c6 check, king b8, and queen c7 is mate. So knight b5, knight b5, queen c6 check, king b8. I can capture on e6, but I don't think so that would be the answer to the puzzle. So that's knight b5, knight b5. What about rook c6? Check. Now the king has two options, b7 or b8. Yeah, I think going to b7 is risky because of this discovered attack from my queen, so I can just capture on, I can come to uh, c5 and then I can maybe capture this rook or something like that could be done. So after knight b5, knight b5, rook c6, king b8 is uh, is also an option, right? But then I just run out of checks. I don't have any checks. So knight, and let's knight d5. It's just bad because of bishop d5. Yeah. Okay, I have rook d5. Rook d5 is also there, followed by queen d5. But Knight b5 looks just better. Knight b5, knight b5, queen c6, king b8. And I don't have queen c8 as well available. Hmm. I mean, it has to be knight b5 or knight d5. One of these moves which comes with the check. Because if I play something like knight a4, bishop d7 is there, queen e8 is also there. There are a lot of ways to defend the pawn then, right? So knight b5 check. Let's see. Knight b5, queen c6, king b8. Is it knight b5? Let's. I mean, I can go for the first move. It should be knight b5. Let's go for this. Hmm. Now I can capture on c6, right? I'm attacking the rook, but rook c8 is there. However, I have got something like rook d6, pawn d6. Hmm. Not sure if that works. I think queen c6. I mean, I can capture on d6, pawn d6, queen c6, then threatening queen c7 or some. Oh, sorry, threatening the rook itself, and then there. But then rook c8 is still possible because of the bishop, right? Rook c6, bishop c, rook c, queen c6. My bad. Rook c8. Rook d6, pawn d6. What about rook d6, pawn d6 right away? Queen c, queen c6, rook c8 is still possible. And what about queen c6? Let's say rook c8. I mean, I can cap. This bishop is also defending the rook on c8, right? That's a big issue. Queen c6, rook c8. Obviously, my knight cannot be captured right now because of queen a8. So my knight is kind of safe, I can say. Also, this queen is kind of, I mean, if I just remove this pawn, it will be attacked by my queen. Oh wait, I think it should be knight d6, pawn d6, queen c6, rook comes to c8, and then I can capture on d6. If king f8, I can capture the bishop as well with check, and then the rook is falling. So yeah, it should be knight d6 here. Awesome. So we are in 2400s. Um, okay, you know what? I mean, we're playing with white pieces here. Yeah. Um, let's see if we can solve this one. There could be some forks available because of this knight here. So let's see. Rook f8. Because right now my king is very much exposed. So I have to make sure that I have to think of some active play here. Rook f8, check. And then he has got two options, king g7 or king h7. Let's say king g7. The other idea is rook h7 check. If rook h7, I have got queen f8 and that's mate, right? So after rook h7, king h7 has to be played. Okay, let's see. Knight g6, rook g6, rook f8, king h7, rook h8, king f8, queen f8, but then he's got rook g8 there. Also king h7. Yeah, so that does not work. I mean, rook h7 is very interesting, but then I believe my opponent will capture with the king on h7. Rook f8, king h7. Let's see. Rook f8, king g7 is also possible, right? I mean, I can get a draw if that is the whole idea, but I guess I have to win this one. Queen h6, queen h6. Rook f8 is met with queen f8. And then I have got knight g6, but then king g7, knight f8 and king f8. So I'm losing all the pieces there. Yeah. Rook h7, king h7, queen f5 check, but then he's got bishop g6. Hmm. Why can't I see it? Rook f8, king g7. I mean, one idea is queen f6 check, but then he's got queen f6 as well. I was hoping for something like queen f6, rook f6, knight g5 check, king f8 is there, rook f8, Check king h7. Maybe king g7. Yeah, it's not working out either. Hmm. I'm not sure. Rook h7, king h7, right? Queen, queen f5 check. King g8 is also possible there. Yeah, that is also possible. So rook h7 is just out of question. Let's not think about this at this point of time. Rook f8, king g7. Rook f8, king g7, queen h6. If king h6, rook f8 is there. Check, king comes to g5. Captures on h4, captures on h4. And I'm not sure if that's winning, but yeah, that's one way to dissolve the position. So rook f8, king g7, queen h6 is met with queen coming to h6, right? Hmm. Knight g6, rook g6, rook f8, king g7. Queen f6, rook f6, rook f8. It's tough, man. Let's call it the last puzzle for the stream, and then we'll see how to go about this one. I mean, how to go about in today's stream. Rook f8, king g7, queen h6, queen h6. Hmm. I can't even think of any candidate moves right now. I mean, I just don't see it at all. Rook it's okay. I mean, it has to be one of these checks. That's for sure. But queen f6 does not. So let's see. Knight g6 is met with rook g6, right? Yeah. And then rook f8 is there. Rook g8 is bad because of. Yeah, but then rook f. 8 rook g8 is also good, equally good, because there's no queen f6 at the moment. I'll go with rook h7. Okay, let's see what's the solution here. Oh yeah, awesome. Awesome. Missed that one completely. So we're playing with white pieces. Let's try to solve this one and end on a high note maybe. So yeah, queen e6 check. Looks very interesting. If king goes to h8, I've got knight f2. If king rook f2, I've got queen f2, right? I mean, this is going to be my first move anyhow. But I also have bishop h7 there. Bishop h7, knight h7, queen e6 check. That is better, because if rook f7, then I've got queen e8. But then this knight is also protecting that rook there, right? Bishop h7, knight h7, queen e6 check. If he goes to h8, then knight g6 is mate. So yeah, bishop h7, knight h7, queen e6 check, rook f2, queen f2. Yeah, that should do the trick, right? And now knight g6. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I guess it's been pretty eventful today. Let's call it a day. I mean, I had planned to play a few games against a few bots, but then I started streaming a little late today. So yeah, that's my bad. But I'll try to stream next Friday, which is going to be 31st. Yeah, definitely I'll be streaming on that. So yeah, if you liked my content, you can give my channel a shot. I stream on every weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, see you next week. Till then, take care and goodbye.